Ms. Mary Pinkoski. Just sexing the chaos a little bit. Wow. So, yeah, as Mary mentioned, we're down to the cleanup act here. Did she really call you the improbable, Chris Gilpin? Well, because I am, if she did or she didn't. He is quite. And when you talk to him about what's going on, he'll always bring up, of course, the Versus Festival that just finished out in Vancouver. This was Chris's first year directing it, and as he says, he lit up Commercial Drive. And actually, he didn't. We did, but I wasn't there. That's a drag. But next year, whoa, okay then. Hey, speaking of Muriel Rukeyser, you know, my favorite line of hers is where she says, say it, the universe is made of stories, not atoms. Chris Gilpin.
I'd also like to mention my festival co-director, Jillian Christmas, is sitting right there. And anyone who runs anything resembling a spoken word or poetry festival in Canada knows that this is the golden standard to which all festivals aspire. It's true. This is the 10th anniversary of this festival, and it's the longest running spoken word festival, and it's still the most important spoken word festival. That's not me sucking up, that's just information. So, this is my home province. I'm from Alberta. I'm from that other city in Alberta. We'll talk about that more later. And I was in the cab today. I was in a cab, and the cab driver was talking about the deficit and that there had been a lot of cutbacks because of this. And, you know, news travels, but I wanted to get the local take on it, so I said, take me to the cutbacks. Where are the cutbacks? Take me to them. So he took me to the Calgary Zoo, and I got off in the Calgary Zoo, and I walked around. I was excited to see it was open at this time of year. And I went into the first row of cages, and there was a piece of toast sitting in a cage. And of course, I assumed that this was food for some animal that I would be about to see. But I found out that was what they were showing. A piece of toast was now being exhibited in the zoo instead of an animal because of the cutbacks. And I know that for a fact because there was a plaque right beside it that said "Bred in Captivity." And so I knew it was the toast that had to be. So remember to vote. Remember to vote. Vote for whoever you want. Vote twice. Remember to vote. I had to do it. It's just what we're... I will be punished later. I understand that. So, oil. I just like to say that. Like, you just lay it out there, you know. It's just a giant slick every time you say the word oil. We're all involved, and this is my poem, which is, I always dedicate it to my favorite oil tycoon, T. Boone Pickens. And I'm going to try to channel some T. Boone Pickens for you. Gotta move the crude. Gotta push it through them tubes to that port, onto that super duper tanker, across an ocean or two, to that other port, through them other tubes, to the refinery, through the refinery, onto them trucks to go to them gas stations and fill them up so you can fill her up. I gotta move the crude that moves you. And I have no frickin' idea how our oil ended up under their sand. Still, that's why we need to spread democracy, because democracy, you see, that's what happens when 2 wolves and 1 sheep sit down and vote on who they'll eat for dinner. And maybe in the 22nd century, we'll say this wild goose chase for fossil fuels made us look like fossil fools. But for now, I know I am well remunerated for my efforts. I'll do whatever I have to do to move the crude that moves you. I'll appease the locals. I'll sit in that Suez traffic jam. I'll quell them who dissent. I'll sit in that Panama traffic jam. I'll rinse the gunk off those clueless seabirds. Gosh darn it, couldn't you tell? That was the oily part of the ocean. Most of all, though, I'll say a little prayer, a little Thanksgiving type prayer for all them algae or dinosaurs or whatever, all of them Jurassic life forms that had their bodies broken, who crumpled into the earth and over, millions of years had their carbon-based corpses pressure cooked into hydrocarbons so that one day someone like me could drill down into their liquid grave and yell, "Yippee-ki-yay, I found a gusher, and I'm a rich motherfucker. I found a gusher." And it's with solemn conscientiousness that we burn their unleaded body juice in our autovehicular crematoriums. Personally, I got 4 of them. Thank you, ancient earth creatures. You keep our engines humming, so long as I keep that oil running. Thanks, guys. In my opinion, there has been not enough Mary Pinkoski on the stage tonight. I would like to rectify that situation by bringing Mary Pinkoski back up to the stage. So Mary.
Hello. Sorry, why do you make your mic so low?
I like doing that.
You have a booming voice.
I know. I like a low mic. I like a low mic.
Anyways.
Mary and I both come from the same city, which happens to be that other city, which we don't need to talk about.
Oilers.
Yeah. She said it. I didn't bring it up.
I just
The
want
funny
them
thing
to
is,
really like you.
I know. Thank you.
I leave.
Thank you for that. I live in Vancouver now, and from one time zone away, the whole rivalry seems less important. And when you get to see anyone from Alberta, outside of Alberta, it is always an exciting moment because I know that they aren't going to flake out on me, and we just go and eat a cow. It's awesome. So I highly recommend not taking the rivalry too seriously. There's something else that these two cities have in common, and that's that you spend a lot of time driving around in cars. And so I wrote a poem about that when I went back to Edmonton recently, because I just was reminded of just driving. This poem is called Sand and Snow, and Mary will be joining me on it in the car. She's driving, I'm in the passenger seat. And it is dedicated to John Newlove and Cadence Weapon. Growing up in a prairie city, we drove down sandpaper streets.
The first snow fell, covering the streets with...
Hush now.
Followed by trucks.
Covering the hush with sand, melting it into slush.
which froze into brown ice,
So more trucks came with more sand
grinding the brown ice into sludge,
that other trucks could swipe to the curb,
and there grit piles sank into grime mounds.
washing away into gravel reminders and drying into gray dust that flew and landed everywhere, tinting the entire city ashen until the next snow fell.
No car stayed clean for long.
An Escalade covered in muck is no cooler than an El Camino covered in muck. So fuck it.
Wear your work boots to the nightclub.
We drove to the strip mall,
We drove from one side of the strip mall
to the other side. We drove to the world's largest shopping mall.
We drove around
The world's largest shopping mall.
looking for our friend's car.
No.
No.
No. We drove with the car stereo turned way up to drown out the great plain silence.
Walking anywhere.
Was considered an eccentricity of the highest order.
Your face could fall off. The only walking occurred to or from your vehicle.
In that frenzied shuffle, the earth in the air blew into our eyes, our nose, our mouth. It tasted like
Blood and diesel.
ghost mountains and punctual ass kickings.
Like the hymns of bow-backed abandoned barns.
And like the clouds strolling overhead, deciding when to condescend upon Dirt City.
We parked our broken tractor childhoods in that back 40 above us.
The useless Prairie City sky. It was always waiting there, daring us to go up and think in it.
We kept our heads down.
Our face would not fall off.
We made it
to
the car.
One more time for Mary Pinkoski. This is my final poem, thank you. I am in mountain pose. More or less. What is a mountain? A mountain is a majestic nervous breakdown, the accumulated tension between the Earth's shoulder blades erupting in tectonic temper, shattering the surface to reveal the immensity beneath. My body taught me irony, shattering up from childhood in ways both contradictory and hilarious. I don't write funny poems. I trace the shapes I see around me, even the twisted ones, especially the twisted ones. I spend my days forging irony into steely resolve. I spend my nights artistic yelling for drunk people. Each day I work to contort my restlessness into relentlessness. Each night I drink it to sleep. In yoga, I learn important hippie shit. Like how to breathe in difficult positions. Life is a difficult position to be in, especially the beginning, middle, and end parts. Breathing can be a vital life skill. This was meant to be more straightforward. I understand the importance of speaking, of being earnest. I understand the importance of being earnest. I've read it several times. But speaking sideways is the only way I know through the headwind that howls between exhalation and education. I must twist these words edgewise so that a few may sing like ninja stars for you to catch in your teeth. Thank you.